Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
hey, hey.
We're back again.
You,
Sorry.
s- you say that like you say it like it's a bad thing.
I'm joking. Yeah, we're back. TA Monday, my favorite day of the week.
Poor you.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for a comment on that. No, but yeah, we're back. We're gonna do the TA for the past week. Last week we had some fun with it, and yeah, we'll see where we go. It's been a lot of things happening. Like the whole market has been so much crazy stuff with the whole banks crashing and everything.
Yeah,
And
it's
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 not,
gonna be a it's gonna be a fun time.
yeah,
Do you ever do
credit.
you ever get do you ever get scared of being right all the
I mean,
time?
I'm not going to say we're right all the time, but we're fairly accurate, and it's getting scary at this point.
Oh, I don't know when it comes to banking crises and debt crises. I've been right for a long time. Eventually I'm going to be like actually right on the time. That's always the fun thing.
Oh yeah, that's the timing is hard, but that's why we have TA too, right?
Well,
We can
yeah.
time some stuff.
Well, that's the phrase is that if you're early, that's as good as being wrong. Is very very valid.
Yeah, and I know from the past 2 weeks all about being late. When it's not my own fault, it's extremely annoying. I actually made some calculations, and
No, don't do those
oh,
calculations.
I
Don't
did it,
do it.
and I missed out on so much. Like it's ridiculous. Either way, anyway, everybody, hi, welcome back. Thanks for coming. Jay, I see you in there. Imre is here too. I see. It's nice
Hi
to see you guys
guys.
again. It's so nice to see you. Anyway, we're gonna kick right into this actually because there's actually quite a bit that I want to say, and hopefully Rob doesn't talk over me too much this time. No, joking. No, actually, don't
I'll
do that.
talk over you exactly the right amount, which is anywhere from 18 to 21 of the next 28 minutes. So
Perfect.
yeah, no, absolutely. This is your party. Go for it. Show us what you got.
Right. Here we go. So this is still familiar, and actually, I'm going to start with removing some lines that we have had here for quite some time.
I feel like that's a bit like
It's
that's
like saying goodbye to an old friend, you
yeah,
know?
but it's like sacrilege. I feel like if we could just do this forever, and we just have like this 2 year long chart of just all of our correct and incorrect TA, it'd look cool.
Well, it's going to be too much stuff. Like, we still remember where everything is. Like, we've had these two, like, this is descending wedge we've had for a long time now, and I think it's time to start removing these lines. I'm going to actually kill this one. Boom. And I'm actually going to wait with this one just for a minute, but then I'm going to remove this one too. Because I just want to go back a little bit to where
what he's saying is Bitcoin will never go below 20K again.
Well, if it did, I'd be happy at this point.
Yes.
But so let's see what we got here. So first of all, I want to just go back to what we looked at last week. We were on this candle, somewhere in the middle of this candle, and we're still pumping. And we said, okay, we're stuck in this. I'll actually remove that for no good reason. Then we were actually in this ascending channel because we had fallen through it. We bounced on this trend line and on the fib level here, the 0.5 fib level. And that's where I had my buy order, which I missed because I didn't have my funds, which is why I'm annoyed. But I'm going to stop beating myself up because Jay is tired of listening to me whining about it.
Everyone is sick of hearing you whine about it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we bounced here, and now I feel like this trend line, we can actually remove this to clear up the chart a little bit, because that's the long-term trend line that we were waiting for so long to get past, and we have, and we've actually retested it twice. So I feel like now it's solid. The reason why I say that is because we actually broke out of this long-term. I'm just going to put a measurement on this. This is where we had our range for so long that everybody keeps remembering, because that's the main range. Phil is the most unprepared trader ever. I was prepared. My bank wasn't, though. So that's why. Either way. So here we go. We actually managed to poke out of this one finally, and this is a long-term range. So this is why I say it's time to remove that long-term trend line for now. We might have to put it back though if it crashes down again, but for now I'm fairly confident that we're going to stay away from that trending line there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to remove this one because we're out of this channel. I am going to keep this one though, because that will be used possibly as support. And we're going to keep this one as a long-term trend line upwards instead. Yeah, you agree, Rob? So far, so good. Yeah.
If I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So cool. So what's happened here is last week we were talking about how if we broke through this fib level, I might zoom in actually, so it's easier to see. We were waiting to break through this fib level here, and actually I'm going to kill this fib level too, because that is now not needed. So we broke through this fib level finally after so long. We had a bounce here, and then we fixed it. It was fighting for a bit, but then we made it. And now we're safely above it. I would say it's at 25.3, and now we're up at 28-ish. And I feel like this might be the new range here. I'm not promising anything, just saying. Okay, so we also put this resistance level here at 28.6, I think it is. Yeah, 28.6, and that was just like, it wasn't any exact science to that one. We kind of just put it as like an overall start of where the resistance might start. And yeah, it's pretty much hit it.
My same line is at 28.8, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it's just an overall like range. I put it on I think I put it on this daily close on these candles here, because then it was just wicks down here, and it was pretty close to these wicks down here.
Yeah, I think my logic for where it is mine goes back to a wick all the way back to January 2021, and sort of just like, yep, that was the level, and that's kind of always been the level.
Yeah, it's again, we're not looking for exact spots, right? We never have. We kind of look for that kind of range. Even if we find like a line where we want to put it, we kind of say, a few percent up or down. That's pretty solid.
Yeah. So, in terms of range, for the range of resistance to me isn't necessarily this exact value here. It's if you look at the trading range just to the left of what you can see there.
Yeah, right
here. It's the bottom to the top of that section.
Yeah,
because
precisely.
If you put the top end on it, then you can see that's a range that's been played with an awful lot as well.
We tend to do a price range something like this, and then we pull that there, and then there's like a bunch of resistance here. Mainly, one of the reasons for that is like if we turn on the is this the correct one? I suppose that's the correct one. There is trading. I hate it when it does this. Anyway, you
could just ask me to get mine up,
Yeah, I know. Don't ever ask me to get yours up again, please.
Oh.
Either way, okay. Let's drop that before we get into something we shouldn't get into here.
Keep yourself.
So, this is kind of where we're looking at. Kind of the resistance range. It might have to fight itself through here for a while. If we're going to go up, we might have to fight under it for a while, and then we have to fight around this for a while. And maybe that's where indicators start resetting kind of back to oversold. And because when you move sideways, indicators like the RSI and the Bollinger Bands, they tend, when you move sideways, you still move into the Bollinger Bands, you still move down in the RSI most of the time. And that's kind of where we can get the reset. It might happen here as well, but I think for a continuation of this, like, I don't think we're gonna keep going straight up. But maybe I'm just being stupid. I did see some arguments from Kevin Svensson. He was saying that we're in a parabolic move, and I mean, yes, but I'm very tired of hearing people talk about parabolas, this, parabolas, that, because it's just. Like we had the same type of thing here. We had a huge pump up, and then people were saying, "Oh, parabola is going to keep going, but it didn't. It just did the sideways stuff to reset all the indicators. Just look at this. Parabola ends here, right? Pretty much, or maybe here. We go like that, but we end the parabola here, and the RSI is already resetting, right? It comes down a bit more. It's not far enough. It does a little bit of pump, and then comes down again, and then we reset it. It's oversold, right? and then we
Yeah.
get the new one. So it's like I don't really see things going straight up like that. You might see more of these, big pump sideways, big pump sideways, and maybe we'll get into this space and get a little bit of sideways before we carry on up, if we're going to carry on up, without without having to go down and kind of retest, let's say 21.5 again or something like that.
I think
it's just guesswork at this point.
The thing to think about and the thing to consider is that we've pumped very hard, very fast. Okay, in two rounds. We had a pump, initial sell-off, then we added this second pump. We've still only got to our first resistance level. It seems this seems like a very large move because of the percentages, but the percentages are so large simply because it's Bitcoin. There's not many assets that can do a near 100% move in the matter of a couple of months and still be in essentially a bear market. And this is Bitcoin has not really turned around its bear market yet. It's starting to. It's in the process. It's put in a couple of higher highs, but they're very small higher highs relative to the lower lows that have been put in place. So, yes, there's some reason to get excited, especially if some real buying pressure, if some liquidity comes into the market as a result of these banking problems that have turned up. If this is, if these problems with the banks lead to, the Fed pivot, they actually lead to not necessarily just the Fed, but other central banks really starting to change their mind on raising rates, on quantitative tightening, on holding back on liquidity in the system. If they start pumping liquidity in, which there's some early signs that they're going to, then this could keep on going. I would potentially wager that the real liquidity won't come in until the banks start collapsing first. So it's that, looking at it from a purely technical basis, we've just slammed our head at full speed on very, very hard resistance at a time when a global banking crisis is at hand. And as much as yes, we want Bitcoin to be the perfect hedge and the perfect backup plan, insurance plan that everybody funnels billions of dollars into at the earliest convenience because they all decide the banking system has failed overnight. That's not how reality works. And we've seen a lot of, this pump is, yes, it's from a combination of short squeezes and liquidity coming in. There are only so many people in the world ready to put their life savings into Bitcoin that have any meaningful life savings. And it's just, this is a period to be very careful in, because we need to see ideally a move into, as I mentioned, you say that range into that sort of 29 to 32k range. If it can move up there and into this sort of range and then flag, if it can put in a flag there, put in a real solid base of support, hold it and break higher, then great. Now we've officially properly really turned the corner and really changed the market structure. But it's as not wanting to be the macro bore and pretend that technical analysis works every time. Things for the are starting to turn around. But short term, this is a risky, worrying, scary moments.
Yeah. I just pulled this out here because you were talking about a flag. This is not really a beautiful flag at all, but it's just to get the idea.
Yeah.
This is certainly a possibility. If we're going to break this resistance here and get into that range of resistance, we might see like a big candle that goes through, because every time we broke through any type of meaningful resistance, like if we just go back all the way down here, right? If we just go back here and check, okay, we go through here, we get through, we have a huge candle. Next candle is huge, breaks through the middle line of the Bollinger, makes a huge test again to get through this line, and then starts fighting it below. And then we have it, when we actually do crack it, we go straight through with a huge candle, right? And if we're going to break through this, I would expect to see something like that, a big candle. I don't know if I would say that we can just like kind of poke into it and start moving slowly through it. I think it needs to be like a big, like a hard breakout through that. At least maybe not a hard one, but like a significant one, and not just one.
We could also see some false breakouts.
For sure.
For it. and that's that's something.
Such as this.
Well, I do have, if I can find it a sec, a very good example of these of a false breakout, or not necessarily a false breakout, but a really frustrating breakout. If you want to just stick my screen on for a sec. So here's Ethereum, and here's Ethereum as it went to break the all-time high. Yep. And whereas Bitcoin did it and it pumped and started pumping, really bigly, Ethereum had a hell of a lot of trouble. And I remember, these are daily candles. It had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests before it really broke up. Then it came and tested below. And so that, this was like a nearly 2-month period of it failing, of it basically struggling to get past the previous all-time high. Yep. Now, obviously, that's just a specific resistance level, but we could see something very similar where it just crawls and grinds, and what we see is this real decoupling when the global macro starts to look shit, and even despite that, Bitcoin just refuses to go along with the trend. And yes, it'll follow the overall trend. So when the S&P has a down day, Bitcoin will have a down day, but the overall trajectory would be up. And whereas say the stock market is going down, bond market's going down, whatever, like that's possible, and that is kind of that's when Bitcoin goes stupid, is when it's doing what it wants to and not what macro is telling it to.
Yeah. So what I was actually gonna do too, I was gonna bring up my my chart again. Here we go. Also, hi Salman, I saw you just popped in there. Hope you're doing good. And so we've established a little bit of a range here that we think we're gonna see some resistance in, obviously, and we might have that what Rob just talked about, which is kind of a slow breakout, or a very annoying breakout that makes people think, should I get in or should I get out? Like if you're holding, you're going to sit there, do I get out now? It's kind of dumb. Or if you're there waiting to buy and you're like, dang, do I buy now or do I wait for a breakout? Or what do I do? So what I wanted to say,
every pump will look too expensive and every dump will look too cheap. Every pump looks too cheap. Yeah,
that's exactly what's happened to me, because I got myself a position, and I did tell people that I was going to try to get a position here. And I think I said last week when we were in this candle right here, I said, I am going to wait for us to break through this and close a candle here above this, because it's such a long-term resistance and we've been fighting that resistance for so long, right? So what I did was, I could have bought down here, but I didn't want to, buy here and then have it just go down and sit with that position there, right? Because I felt like that was the top of the range that we were in, which it was. It was very close to the resistance lines. It was very close to the top of the trend line. It was very close to the, being overextended in the Bollinger Bands and all these things. And we were getting close to being oversold on the RSI and all these other metrics that I was looking at. So I said, I'm going to wait. So I waited, and then I got in here somewhere during this candle. Because I realized it was a huge candle that was going to keep going. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to get in the middle of the candle. I don't care. So I got myself a position at least. So currently that's a good position. Now I'm kind of just, if I would have waited for this for like today, and I was waiting here and looking at this thinking this might come down in the next few days, but it might also pump. So if I go to bed and I don't have a position and I wake up and it's like at 32, I'm going to be super pissed. And that's something that might happen here when we get into something like this, a range here. So the people that are sitting on a position, they're going to be like, crap, do I sell here or do I hold this? Meanwhile, the people that want to get in, they're going to sit there, I don't know if I should buy right now. So it's going to be one of those. That's kind of what happens when it starts going sideways. People are selling, people are buying because they're not sure what to do. And there's plenty of people that do that. So what I was going to say too is I actually want to add another, and I'm going to remove some stuff from the chart here just to make it a little bit more visible. I wanted to add a new fib level actually, because now that we've switched the directions quite clearly, because we've made, I'm going to zoom in just a tad. We have made a new higher high, right? Several higher highs and a lower low. Higher low, higher low. Which means we are officially, now we actually have proof to say we are in an uptrend. It doesn't mean that we're going to stay in the uptrend. It just means that we are actually in an uptrend, a confirmed uptrend, right? Because we got these higher highs and higher lows. And that's quite a significant weekly candle wick right there on that trend line, which correlates to the middle Bollinger Band, by the way, pretty much exactly. So what I want to do here is I want to, just for a moment, I want to, actually I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to add another fib level, but this time, instead of pulling it from down here to up here, we're going to pull it from up here to down here. And I'm going to do weekly closest because it's such a long term. Actually, you know what? I think I might. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep it there. I hope it's not hard to see. If it's hard to see, guys, what I'm trying to say here, just let me know and I'll remove the older one. So what's happened here? This fib level is obviously upside down, contrary to what you guys are used to seeing on our charts here. So what we've seen here is we've just stopped basically between our resistance line and this. We're sitting actually right on this fib level right now, the 382. And the next one, the support level for this one, for the, where is it? Oh, damn, now I'm confused. I hate having too many things. Let me do that. There we go. Now we got it.
Hey.
Yes. So here we go. Now we're sitting like on top of this, and seeing the top of this one. Actually, I'm going to go to the data. It's going to be more easy to see it. And guess where the 0.5 is? Well, it's exactly where we put the top of our range, right? So now we have, it's even a fib level range in between here where we put our range, our resistance range. So that gives me even more confidence in saying this is probably a range where we're going to have some troubles. And beyond that, from the 0.5 and up to the 618 and the golden pocket at the top here, we've got, and I'm going to have to put back the other one now.
Oh, that golden pocket is a very nice sort of level, isn't it?
Yes.
It's great how these. It's great how these work out.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do. I can't see it. This is so annoying when my computer doesn't want to do what I want to do. So if I pull this back again, now we overlay them a little bit. It's going to be a little bit easier to see now that I've already explained it. Here's the old resistance from the older fib level. Here's the new kind of resistance range, which correlates to this price range here. I'll go daily, it's easier to see. So these two fib levels now are holding together that resistance range. And the funny part is that this bottom right here correlates exactly to this fib level. So, and let's see where the new one is. Here we go. Here's the old, this red one here is the old fib level that we called kind of a where it bounced. And that's now going to act like kind of the top of the range here. So after this cracks, after this range is cracked, we might stop right here, or might even go and get some serious resistance in this golden pocket right here. So there's a lot of levels to look at here, honestly. It's two very long-term fib levels that we're looking at.
Golden Goose is pointing that out. There are a lot.
The worst, most scruffy tea I've ever. Sorry, buddy.
No, you're right though. This is the problem when you have these huge moves. Is the because of the level of volatility, the ranges become wider. You have to change your support and resistance levels because this. Whereas we were talking about maybe a 5 or 8% move 3 or 4 weeks ago, now we're talking about 20, 25, 30% moves being the norm as it currently is. So the resistance levels individually become less less valuable, and so you have to start looking for really blocks of resistance levels and how these levels are going to correspond to things like indicators reversing and so typical sort of areas of resistance that you're going to stop and see exhaustion.
No, this pump right here is 46.5% basically. this previous one where it basically started.
Or
So let's
60-ish.
put it to here. It's 48, so it's basically
Yeah.
the same significant move. And this one is still going. Like, we haven't confirmed a sideways move or anything here, or any, like, nothing is confirmed. So it's very hard for us to say, oh, we're starting to move sideways. It looks like we're starting to move sideways. And actually, I wanted to zoom in for once. We normally don't do this, but I wanted to zoom in on just the hourly, just to get kind of see if this has broken this yet.
This is very typical squeezy behavior.
Yeah.
So you see, but what we're starting to see is, you start to see the jump, then sideways jump, then we got a rejection, and then after that, there was much less squeezing after that rejection that we got on, around the 11th. So the majority of the futures based repositioning has kind of happened, unless a load of shorts still carry on piling on. See, this is the type of thing, I know you mentioned, like, there could be a big jump through this level. If there's going to be, the highest chance of that happening will be after a period of sideways movement, during which short positions heavily pile on.
Yeah.
And Golden Goose saying there, we're going to go sideways until the Fed announcement Wednesday. But
it's on Tuesday, I think. It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
It's 20. Oh wait, no, it is on Wednesday. I'm sorry, it's the 22nd. Yes, you're right. You're right.
But even still, we may just have volatility on Wednesday and then more sideways, and it would actually take some period of time for some actual pressure to be built into the market that would give us the power to pump us through this level. I don't see this level breaking in the first go, sort of from here. I know, well, you could argue we've had 2 goes at it already, and it's still making higher lows each time. So this could well break by tomorrow.
So something that I do want to point out, though, now that we've zoomed into the hourly, you get a little bit more. You can see kind of the sentiment changing along the way, because you see this first pump here. This is from the bounce, right? This is when this move started. This is basically vertical, right? Then we had the sideways stuff, and then the next big pump is not as violent. It's still violent, right? But this one is literally straight up, and this one is it's slow. It looks like kind of like a banana. It's starting to bend, and you see this one here was pretty big too, but it's not nearly as big as these ones. So it's kind of slowing down how hard it pumps, and now it's kind of it's entered the volatility phase, right? Because the up and down phase. I mean, all of this is just up, something. I don't even know what that is.
Up something.
Up something, and then we have sideways, and then we have another like hard go, and then it slows down and it does a hard go again, but then it hits resistance that obviously is there, because otherwise that would have kept on. But then we have this, hard rejection, basically. Not a hard rejection, but over the course of a few hours just went down and then came right back up again. I was watching this live happening, actually. And now we're seeing this kind of really, really choppy move. And you see it slowing down. Like, the angle of the pumps are just slowing down. So at this point, going back to the daily with that information, or actually the 4-hourly might be easier, you can see it clearly here too, right? And it's slowing down. And you can see the 4-hourly is starting to reset. RSI is here. It's topped out. It's starting to slow down. Price is still going up. And if you go to the daily, then you really get to see how far things need to reset for it to probably make another one of these hard pumps, because it's oversold. Just barely, but it's still oversold. I'm gonna move this one.
Overbought.
No, sorry, overbought. Sorry, I'm tired.
Precision.
I worked for 12 hours today. But either way, so we're far extended outside the Bollinger Band. Not far, but we have been outside of the Bollinger Bands for a while. The RSI is overbought, and it's just I can definitely see this needing to slow down, and kind of I wouldn't actually be surprised. I would actually like to see a retest of this fib level right here, because that would confirm that we could get back into the Bollinger middle band and bounce there at the same time as maybe bouncing on the middle of the RSI as well. And then if we continue from there, then we'll continue going, right? At least in my opinion. And it makes sense because there are support lines there now. But again, it's we can still extend far beyond overbought. Like, look at this move here. Like, we're far beyond. We're all the way up
Oh
at
yeah.
an 80.5. And right now we're only at, let's see, what is it? Well, 70 literally. So we can still like keep going all the way up to 90 here and just get this massive move, but I have a feeling it's gonna get stuck somewhere in here. If we're lucky, we might get stuck up here. But I have a hard time seeing it going anywhere beyond 36K, to be honest with you, and that's just my opinion. And this is not something that will happen within a week. Like this has to take a week or 2 weeks at least for this to play out, in my book at least. So
yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't see. I'm not putting any bets on time duration because we've seen how aggressive this move up is. But yeah, I do generally think you are right. I think you say, well, we'll probably top around here and at least calm down and then maybe have another go. But
yeah,
we've seen, well, what we've noticed over the last couple of weeks is that generally our positioning has been correct in what we've said on the show. Our timing has been the thing that's not. What we expected to happen has happened, but you can't always guess when, because this market is so erratic and unpredictable.
Yeah. I just want to take a few super quick, because I saw a question here that came up, and I think it's going to be a quick one. Where are we? We had I think Marcy said something about Bitcoin going to $1 million, and that's because of the, I think, Twitter bet between, what's his name again? Whatever, some dude. He bet somebody $1 million that Bitcoin will be $1 million within 90 days.
Yeah, I've heard that of John McAfee before.
Yeah.
It didn't go well for him.
It's very unlikely. And I don't think we want to go through all the explanations to why that's unlikely. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'd say the good thing about Bitcoin being $1 million in June is that it will be under 200,000 by December. So, it's,
yeah.
say that's.
I mean, if I hold my position up to $1 million and then I can sell and get back to 200K and buy it back, I'm super happy. Like, let's go.
Oh yeah.
I'm not betting on that though. I am, however, betting on having to watch this resistance fighting out or having a little bit of a dump so I can get more or whatever, and then kind of getting stuck up here again. I feel like Rob, you've been saying for quite some time that we're gonna see, maximum pain is up, and that's evident here because we have short squeezes all over the place, and people are like, and then we have the whole banking thing happening at the same time. So it's rough for a lot of people. For us crypto geeks that just care about Bitcoin at this point, we love this, So.
When we talk about max pain, you've got to think about the positioning of all the players in the market. So it's that, who wants to be buying, who wants to be selling. Now, as it happens, if we go through this, this banking issue, if it becomes a real issue, then the sellers will be forced sellers, and that could push a potentially huge amount of Bitcoin onto the market at a very inopportune moment, exactly the same as we saw through 3AC, through Luna, through FTX, all that last year. Now, when you look at FTX was the worst collapse of the lot, but it didn't lead to the biggest downside in percentage terms, and that was from the exhaustion of sellers that had already happened. That you had a year's worth of sell pressure that had been absorbed. It's an awful lot easier to dump from these higher prices, and so. This is the thing to be wary of is that yes, that the narrative is very clearly going to be banking crisis, fiat's worth nothing, the dollar's going to zero, buy Bitcoin, custody your money, Bitcoin's going to the moon. That is going to be the narrative. Be very, very careful of narratives, because what is far more likely is that if Bitcoin carries on its current trajectory, that when the banking system goes to shit, we see a COVID crash type move. In fact, what we're actually seeing now is very, very reminiscent of the end of 2019. Yep. If you just want to zoom, take a little bit of a zoom back to that period of time before the COVID crash, and you can see that period right where you are there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna remove this one. Yeah.
So
It
you
looks-
get
it's-
both
it
areas
looks-
up. Come on, show us the comparison, sir.
Hi.
Why you don't just auto scale? I'll never know.
Because I don't like it. I like
'Cause
to have
it's-
full control myself.
Yeah, but you don't. You push your bloody screen everywhere.
I like it. Is it hard to see what's happening?
Yes, it's absolutely terrible. And do you know what's really fun? Is that I had it up and ready within about 5 seconds, and you're still fucking about with it.
Yeah. Well, here you go. Are you
Yes.
happy now?
No, not really, because now you've changed it to the weekly key, so you can't see any resolution. You're a useless bastard.
Yeah. See, this is what we do with each other.
Yeah,
See, now you're happy. And
not
we'll do
really.
this
You're a
for you.
minute late.
Talk. Speak.
Well, literally all I was saying is it looks like the end of 2019, but you took that long
Yeah.
bloody finding it, and you've still done a crap job of zooming into the right region. You've still got
Well,
all your bloody drawings on.
You
Why
got
don't
it.
just
You
put
got
my
it.
screen
You
on?
got to hear. You're
Why don't
you're
you just
talking
put my
about
s- You just put
you're
my
ta-
screen on.
now. I'm gonna annoy you now.
Well, either way, it's kind of the point being mostly. No, I don't mean that period. I mean after that period. Jesus Christ! Put my just
Yeah,
show
okay, well,
you my
well,
goddamn
I
screen.
Rob, you know I can't share your screen if you
You
don't
can
have it
do
shared. Now. Well,
So, what I'm referring to, you goddamn imbecile, is essentially you have big run up, big flat period, false run up, collapse, big run up, big flat, big collapse, flat period, run up. Wouldn't it be fitting? Wouldn't it just make an awful lot of sense to see the same sort of thing under the same kind of economic conditions? Because you've got to remember, liquidity shortage, banking crisis was the reason that the COVID crash happened. It wasn't COVID. COVID was the catalyst, not the cause. This was always going to happen in 2020, even without COVID. In the same way that this completely unsustainable and fragile financial ecosystem is not sustainable. It can't go on without something changing significantly. Usually that thing is a crash and a wipeout and a reset.
Yep.
So why don't we see the same thing again? To me, it just seems very, very logical, and it's the same, the market doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. What we're seeing is a very similar behavior over a different time frame.
Yep, for sure. No, you're right. I think I'd like to see that too, because then I can get up.
And if we're talking about what would release liquidity, as I said, it's the crash that will cause them to really about turn, go into panic mode, and print trillions way too much money. That's what would kick them off, if anything. So we need the crash to set the next cycle off, and that's kind of been a way for Bitcoin for years. For every cycle, it's always pumped out of a crash, and never really this, or very rarely this sort of sideways. You always get these sideways accumulation, then a period of, oh, this is all right, then no, boom, collapse, and then the next bull market starts. So it'd be nice to see the same again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I see there's a lot of talk in the chat here, and talking about where it could drop to and everything. Honestly, I think we established before that we think the actual bottom was around 19K, the range where it's been moving around. So that if it were to drop really hard from like 36, I would be hard pressed to see it go below that range again. Really.
Let me just see if I can find the liquidity maps, if it will load.
But yeah, while you're waiting for that,
Well,
I think the range that's been established during this sideways move in the bear market within these fib levels that we were talking about, between 25.3 and all the way down to 18.9, that's really a range where it's been sitting there for so long. It's so much volume inside of that range, that seeing it go past that would be very unlikely, even if we had a massive crash, in my opinion, obviously.
Oh, I love it when Golden Goose says stuff's not going to happen. So I shared this a couple of weeks ago, and one thing we pointed out was how we were kind of down in this middle zone. We were down around the 22, 23 or something last time I showed it, and we're now up towards the high end of this level. So, as we talked about this, the zone above us, you can see there's an awful lot of short liquidations coming at not a very big price above us. So, if that buy volume comes in, as you talked about, whether or not, if you want to see a big candle through it, it's going to be a big candle, then yeah, that's what would kick it off, would be a new round of liquidations. If in terms of will we ever see 16k again, I will not say it's impossible, because say if we got down to say 19.5, which that's fairly optimistic, but 16k, yeah, it could see that, and then below that there is an awful lot of long liquidations that could really take over. And the thing to remember is, say during the COVID crash, still got my drawings on. If you look at this, this level, this period here, and if you just draw on kind of where it stopped and the levels, the levels that it stopped at, and I remember, these were you've got sort of 7,600, which was an area that was played with multiple times. You've got 8,500, I believe it was. That was the June top. It was the range that we played with during the Q4, both in the middle of the range and below it. It was then a range on top, and we just slapped straight through them. And on the big day on the 12th of March, you can see how big that drop was. And what really kicked it off was when it hit that resistance level, when it dropped through that support level. There was a brief period, I believe at about 6,800, where it stopped, crawled sideways for a little period, and then collapsed again. And this was just the mother of all wipeouts, where every single person who had any kind of leverage in the system was just destroyed. Yes, we can see the same thing, absolutely. So below 16k or 16k and below, not going to happen. That's a very, very bold claim to make, if for somebody who understands or claims to understand Bitcoin, like Golden Goose does. Not saying it's going to happen. There's no reason it has to happen or will happen. But to say it's not possible, no, it's very, very possible.
Yeah, I would say it's possible. However, you also have to keep in mind there's a lot of resistance levels or support levels that have to be cracked for that to happen. Like if it happened now,
there was a lot of support levels on the way down.
Yes, I was going to say, right now, if we start that downtrend now and there's like a big collapse now, then it's much more likely. But if we go all the way up to 36 first, at that point, it's further to go in one big collapse. Of course, everything's possible.
It's also more liquidity available, and you've got to think. So once the drop starts happening, there's not really much to stop it.
Yeah,
so
precisely, especially when you see those liquidity levels that you brought up there. Anything's possible. However, I think $1 million Bitcoin within 90 days is very unlikely. I like to use the words unlikely. And also, I want to bring this up before we end. We're ending on this. Golden Goose says he bought Flow because of Rob. See, this is why you don't ever buy anything because of anyone.
And that's why and he's also a goddamn idiot, because he didn't sell it when he was in profit, and he didn't. And
everybody else is watching, just so you know, they're very good friends. So this is just their way of beating each other up. The way that Rob beats me up and I beat Rob up too. Either way, we're gonna end it on this one. We've been doing it for 45 minutes now, guys.
If he was, hang on, he was never in profit. Well, then you made a really, really stupid buy at a really stupid time, didn't you?
Yes. Either way, guys.
I bought it at 10 cents.
let's run this off here, guys. Okay. So good. We'll see you guys next Monday. You know what to do. Actually, Saturday as well. You know what to do. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and leave a like and all these things, and put the notification bell on. Keep your eyes on the Discord and join the Discord. And join
Everybody
us after
send this to one friend at least.
Yeah,
So
at
then
least. And if you don't have any friends, just walk
spam
out on
groups.
Yeah, just spam groups. Go out in the city. Just go out in your local city with a piece of paper that says subscribe to Crypto Talks and just put it in people's faces and be super annoying, and eventually they'll join. All right, cool. We're gonna end it here. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.